Hey everyone, I'm Marina Orms, the founder of Astrology Heals at astrologyheals.com. And I am here talking with you. We've had such an intense week with the events in the news, and I usually don't so much go into the specifics of the things that are happening in the world and the things that are in the news headlines here where I'm talking to you, because I typically want to keep things in context of ourselves and what are the energies, what are the energetic qualities, how can we be aware of them, be conscious of them, and work with them purposefully to facilitate our own healing and evolution and stepping into our highest potential. But I think it is just really hard not to talk about what is impacting all of us collectively in the news this week, and the terrible tragedy that happened with the school shooting in Texas. So I wanted to look a little bit at that as an event, and kind of a defining event for us. First of all, of course, it's terrible. It's just a horrific reality and unimaginable thing that we're having to come to terms with. And each of us has to process that in our own ways. We have to process this ripping of the fabric of reality, this disruption to our understanding of how things work, our feelings of everyday ability to function and safety. And I'm not saying that there aren't other things that things that happen to us as human beings that can do that, right? That can disrupt our reality, that are shocking, that are tragic. Things can happen to any of us. And if you look back on your life, there have probably been moments where things happened that were very shocking and difficult to process. But what's unique about this is that it is impacting us collectively in terms of how we view the world. How we view the world, how we process the realities that of the world we live in. Of course, we know as human beings that sometimes bad things happen. We certainly know that we are not immortal, that life will end for each of us at some point, but the manner in which that happens, the manner in which it happens to people we care about, to our loved ones, that is certainly something that is hard to process as a possibility, and especially when, of course, we're thinking about children. So there's so much that I want to convey and that I've been thinking about and want to share with you. So one of the things that happened during the astrologically that happened, that what this event is a manifestation of, is some astrological cycles. And in particular, we had, on the day of the shooting, we had both the moon and Mars in Pisces, changing from Pisces to Aries. Aries is the sign of rebirth. It is the sign of violence and aggression, as well as action and courage, and finding our will to take action on things that are important to us, to act and to move and to make decisions. But everything astrologically has some benefit, right? Something that we might see as good, that's more of a positive expression of that archetype or that energy. And also everything also has a more negative expression as well. And so, of course, we saw the scarier, the more negative expression of Aries, which is violence, aggression, terror, bullying, horrific acts of, what would normally be only something one might encounter during war, and is experienced in what should be the safest part of our everyday lives. So we had Mars and Moon in Pisces, and Mars being in actually the last degree of Pisces right before it went into Aries. So when the event happened, Mars was in 29 degrees Pisces, which is the last degree of the zodiac right before that rebirth, that Aries point. And the last degree of any sign is sort of, has a certain kind of importance. It's like the completion for that degree, for that sign. As a planet moves through a sign, it reaches the final degree of that sign, and it has a kind of completion. And there's a quality of, culmination, of almost like you're looking back to reflect, it's your graduation moment, and you're looking back to say, well, here's all the things that I went through, all the things I learned, all the things I did, and also all the things I didn't do, the things that I haven't yet done, the things that I'm going to carry with me into the next phase of things. And what is incomplete, or what has emerged or evolved to a point where it's going to be something that I need to address or the next cycle. And especially with Pisces, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac before the rebirth point of Aries. So both Mars and the Moon went into Aries later in the day after the event. Now, also they are conjunct Jupiter, which is at 2 degrees of Aries. Jupiter having recently gone into Aries. Jupiter brings expansion, a feeling of bigness, right? And that can be in a good way, in terms of abundance, fortune, etc. But it can also just bring a big quality to whatever is happening, whatever Jupiter is touching. And in this case, it was conjunct Mars and the Moon on that day, and also Neptune being at 25 degrees Pisces. So Pisces is the sign of grief, of interconnectedness, of loss. So not necessarily tragedy, but also but can be that feeling of loss of the physical form, right? As things transmute from physical form into something more spiritual, right? They as we die, for example, we lose our physical bodies, but our spirit, the memory, the love continues on. So that's all going on with the Pisces energy, with Neptune in Pisces, with a recent conjunction of Jupiter to Pisces, which, just makes all of this sort of, all the feelings we have bigger, all the beliefs, our illusions, our delusions, our capacity to kind of go off the deep end, all happening recently in recent weeks, with eclipse cycle that began with the April 30th solar eclipse in Taurus, and then the May 15th and 16th lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which just took us to a very deep and intense emotional process that we are still in, by the way. So the destabilizing energy, the forces that are just pushing us over a tipping point, pushing us over the edge of things, are all sort of culminating. Now, also that last degree of Pisces is a culmination. So what is it that we need collectively to carry with us to the next cycle, because it is not yet resolved? And these themes of, how are we going to take care of this issue, right? Are we going to address it? How are we going to deal with the fact that lawmakers are, not taking responsibility for gun control, and so on and so forth? And wherever you are on your beliefs about that, that it's a societal issue, it's a collective issue. And how this becomes something that is unresolved in the collective and is going to go with us forward into the next cycle. Now, Mars takes about 2 years to go around the zodiac. So a Mars cycle is about 2 years long from the time it enters Aries until it comes back around to Aries again. So we're not talking about big picture outer planet energies with Mars going into Aries, but there are outer planet influences as well. One of them being Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus is the planet of earthquakes, of shakeup, of rebellion, of destabilization. And so with Uranus in the sign of Taurus, Taurus is all about stability. It's all about our ways that we make sense out of things, how we find stability, how we understand and repeat the same thing because it makes sense to us. So Taurus is about the rhythms of nature. It's about how we connect and feel grounded and feel safe because of our routines. It's how we maintain things. We keep them going. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to recreate the wheel every day because we have this Taurus energy that's like, no, you just do what you know. That's what works. Well, you put Uranus in that sign, and it's the planet of shakeup. So we're shaking up our routines, our sense of stability. We're shaking up the things that make us feel safe. And that energy, that quality is there also telling us that the fabric of reality, as we understand it, is something that we assume to be a certain way. We assume we can go to the grocery store. We assume we can send our children to school. And there's something about this disruptive energy that says, you thought that was just something you could take for granted. And it, in fact, is not. So that's what Uranus does. Now, so that's the really hard reality of Uranus and the Uranian energy. It's that reminder that things can change on a dime. Not necessarily always in this, horrific way, but things that can happen that were not expected, that we, weren't prepared for. It's change entering our world, and it is what I called ripping the fabric of reality, because we have this, this smooth, even way that we assume things work, and when that tears, it's no longer smooth or even, and we don't have that predictableness that we thought or that we assumed before. And now, so that's the hard part about it. The good part about it, and what that energy is also reminding us of, is that things can change. So when we are looking at the future and feeling overwhelmed and depressed because of what we see happening in the world, and that we're, feeling those fears that come up because of where we're headed or how we see what's going on. And when we recognize that this Uranian energy is also telling us, you have infinite possibility available here, and anything can happen. And when we recognize that anything can happen, and we put our energy toward the positive outcomes, the healing, the love that we want to see, the consciousness that we want to see, the transmission, the transformation, the transmutation of things that are about fear and violence and etc. We want to transmute those into things that actually bring in love in completely unexpected ways, things that bring in new possibility, new innovations, new solutions in ways that we have not imagined, that we couldn't conceive before, in the same way that these tragedies can happen. And I wish I could go on here forever because there's just so much, but let me just kind of bring this to a conclusion by saying that the invitation here, the evolutionary invitation, is for us to remember that we are beings of love, just as much, if not more so, we are beings who are victims, are fearful, can have things taken away from us, can have bullies, have power over us, etc. That's all there, but what's even bigger and more than that is our capacity to love, our capacity to be there for each other, our capacity to work within our families and our communities to heal our own traumas and create new solutions going forward, to create the kinds of outcomes that we truly want to see, that we imagine, a future with solutions for climate change, a future with new technologies that get us completely away from fossil fuels, a future with economic equity and social justice and solutions that help people instead of further victimizing one another. That some of these realities that we're dealing with in the world that can make us feel just overwhelmed, can bring us anxiety, depression, mental health is really being challenged right now. So it's really important for each of us to take care of ourselves and to remember within these realities that are pushing us to, sort of open our eyes to, things that we thought were stable or safe, maybe aren't necessarily as safe as we thought, but we do have this capacity to care for each other, to provide support and assistance, and the outpouring of support of the people impacted by this tragedy, and just any tragedy. I think the inspiration that we get from the courage of everyday people in Ukraine who are fighting when they don't know it's going to be okay, who are finding their courage because it beats the alternative, right? Who are finding energy and resources and the ability to keep going on through this ability to feel love, to share love, and to love each other, but also to love the principles that we value and the things we are fighting for, freedom, safety, the ability to create new structures and institutions that will work better for us. And so when we allow the terror and the fear to overwhelm our system so that we shut down and we stop living, that's when we can't do what we're here to do. So of course, we have moments, we all have moments in this world that we live in where we have to take care of ourselves and it just becomes too much sometimes. And that's the time when you need to just take some self-care time, connect with nature, breathe, move your body, be with people you love, tell people that you love them. Those are the things that help rejuvenate us, that help us, even if we can't always feel safe, we can at least know that we have this ability. Think of the things you're grateful for. Think of the things that you do have that you love and appreciate. Think of the people you want to do things for, the people that you want to share things with, and how to make that happen in your life, in your daily routine, and to bring more freedom and inspiration and courage into caring for yourself so you can have the energy you need to have when it's time to move forward in the world. And Mercury is retrograde, of course, that's part of all of this. We have a Gemini new moon on Monday, and this is all a time in many ways to kind of look inside and ask yourself what you need, and to take care of yourself, and to slow down in the ways that you need to slow down, because it's real. This impact of processing, your changing view of the world is real, and it requires you to attend to yourself. It's not just this tragedy, of course, it's the pandemic, it's George Floyd, it's all the things, many things that we could think about that cause stress in our lives and have us worrying about our lives, the lives of our fellow human beings, and the world around us. So I just want to give you a pep talk. I know that the hard parts are real, and we can't always make them okay. It's not healthy to try to make them okay, right? We don't want to push it away. We don't want to stuff it just so we can keep going. We want to, as much as possible, make room for our feelings and make room for our grief. And we need to acknowledge the pain that being human means sometimes. And also that being able to feel that pain also means that we are tremendously capable of feeling love and allowing that love in, and having that love for yourself and that patience for yourself, so that you can keep going, because that's what you're here to do. You're here to love, and you're here to create, and you're here to make a positive impact in whatever that way that is for you, even if it's just smiling at your fellow human beings. So I am going to share more videos with you, and I would love it if you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm working on growing my subscriber base, and it would be super helpful to me if you can subscribe, and that way you'll get to see more of these amazing videos, because we are evolving, astrology is evolving, and astrology can help us put things in context so that we can understand what's going on, what it means for us, and how to respond to it in the healthiest way possible. So thanks so much for watching. Click subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again. Check me out at astrologyheals.com. Bye for now.